Hello everyone, I'm Baldeep Dogra, Director of Product Marketing at Blackberry within our cybersecurity division. I'm really excited to be here again at MENA ISC for your 2021 event. And today I'm going to talk about resilience and vigilance using critical communications and remote working. We've got a simple agenda today. I want to talk about how Blackberry is responding to today's trends in the mobility market, just to give you a good general view of what we're doing. Then I want to talk about the importance of critical communications within responding to those threats and how to remain vigilant in today's world. Then I want to kind of finish off with remote working. We know how much of a key topic this is, in today's world and what the pandemic has actually done to the working life of many. I just want to finish off with how to do remote working right. Before I start, I'd like to kick off with some stats on where we are today in the market. Now, some relevant ones here are, for example, around 70% of companies use bring your own device, whether forced or unforced. There's about 90% breaches from human error. There's a lot of malware around, as you know. Ransomware has increased about 69 to 97% at the endpoint. 97% are at the endpoint. There are about 1 million security alerts daily. 79% of humans at work still employ security workarounds. That means sharing data with applications that they're not supposed to use, for example. There's been a 300% increase in cyber crimes, mainly because of remote working and what the pandemic has done to exacerbate that. And there's about 60% of users who are victims of cyber attacks. But let's take some of these points forward. We at Blackberry are responding to these trends using what we call the prepare, prevent, detect, respond strategy. Now, this is similar to what you'd probably find from Gartner in terms of approaching threats. You want to prepare for things like IT outages, for ransomware attacks, for lockouts, for business disruptions before they happen. You want to prevent cyber attacks from happening, not react to them afterwards, which is what most vendors do with their threat detection capabilities. We have that capability as well, but we'd like to prevent first. Detect security breaches before they happen, detect suspicious behavior before it happens. Minutes do matter. And then how do you, as a business, respond? How would you respond if something happens? And how do you prepare your users? How do you secure your users? Not only in the endpoints they use, but the data they use on those endpoints and the apps they use to create and manage that data. How do they mitigate risks? We do it by building on a strong foundation of zero trust. Now, at the back of this, we deliver what we call zero touch for the end user and organization. You get the best productivity, the best user experience, and you've got a very happy organization with low cost infrastructure requirements on the end of that to do that, right? So this is our platform, the Blackberry Cybersecurity Platform. It's AI-powered security that works smarter, not harder. Now, key to this offering is AI, but underneath that, we've got our cyber suite. These are our core offerings. And you can see that we not only protect desktops through endpoint protection and EDR, but we've also leveraged our historical strength in mobile endpoint management and critical alerting to mobile threat detection and adaptive policy towards user behavior and risk analytics, something we call continuous authentication. Now, we're extending this adaptive risk score profiling to the network as well for, within zero trust network access. Underscoring that is our security service, which is built on professional services around managed detection and response, MDR, and consulting services that we have at Blackberry. But today I'm going to talk about two specific elements of our platform, critical event planning, or critical alerting, as you want to call it, and also unified endpoint management and how that's used to drive remote working. specifically. So let's talk about critical event management. ATOC is our critical event management platform. That's what I'm going to talk about for the next few minutes. It handles all types of critical events that an organization faces, whether they're cyber threats, cyber attacks, IT alerts, system outages, safety emergencies, supply chain problems, and other kind of attacks. So let's start, for example, let's talk about a cyber attack. What happens, and what is the kind of alerting that's required, and in particular the business process that goes around it? What do you need to do in the event of a cyber attack? Well, initially, an event happens, an impact event happens. Some notification is made, and then someone needs to do a risk assessment. What's actually happened and how will it impact the business? That's what that risk assessment will provide. So you then need to bring together your critical response team. They need to look at all the information that's available. They need to determine the severity of the issue, and then they need to communicate with key stakeholders that they have done what they've needed to in a very secure manner. And then in most situations, they may too have to reach out to employees, all the employees in an organization or a segment of those employees. They may need to share critical information with them or other agencies. And this information could be life-saving. It could be like you are at an area where you need to go and get a fire extinguisher. You need to go and talk to these people, or you need to run to safety. And they would need to get a response back to confirm that they've received those instructions. It's very important to collect that information from the field. You would then need to aggregate that data to understand that the attack that is happening, understand in great detail. Then once resolved, you need the ability to do an after action report, because you want to know how to prepare for future events. Have you responded the right way? Have you done the right things? Have you provided the right level of instructions? And then move on and do your analysis. So that's kind of what a typical response should be if there's a cyber attack. But it's not the only type of critical event. You also have company-wide system outages, potentially. There could be site closures due to accidents, like you can imagine in construction site closing down because of that. Or even changing operational processes due to the pandemic. You're not working in the way the organization is used to. And there's even non-related company events that are potentially impacting the wider public, such as weather, hurricanes, or other issues, similar issues than that. You want to make sure you take note of those issues. ATOC is needed to allow you to alert and respond to all of those critical events and more to ensure the personnel safety and to maintain business continuity. So, critical events have measurable consequences, whether it's a loss of productivity or negative employee morale, customer complaints, loss of reputation, and ultimately loss of revenue for the company. And what you see here is a typical kind of response rate. This is a third-party report through the BCI Horizon report, shows you how much of those are actually consequences of critical events within each thing, within each item you see in front of you. 36% are likely to get loss of revenue. That's quite a high percentage. And talking about loss of revenue, it's real money, right? You can lose money. Minutes, seconds count in an emergency. So do lives. When you look at a typical IT outage, for example, the speed of response can help lower the impact to the overall loss of revenue, depending on the operations that are impacted. Right, so you've got a data breach, for example, 3.86 million potential, loss or average loss for a large organization, and a safety incident could be like $1.8 million loss. You are taking into account here others that need to be notified, and waiting for those people. So time is a key factor here. So look, let's be realistic. We're not going to be able to eliminate these events, but we can help companies manage them more effectively. We can minimize the negative impact. We can shorten the time to resolve them. we can shorten the time to respond to them. And this all brings the costs of responding to these issues down significantly. So why BlackBerry ad hoc? What would that do? Let's look at what it would actually do, right? So BlackBerry, let's start from security. BlackBerry has 20 years of experience with strong secure workflows, and ad hoc is no different. It's part of the family. It's built on that solid rock, that solid foundation. Everything we build is built on that foundation of security. We don't band-aid our security like other vendors do. We don't sellotape it. Each element of our solution stack does not have its own security solution. It's all part of the same solution. We've got the widest set of regulatory compliance certifications on the back of that, and embedded into many governments and large corporations. Ad hoc is scalable and it's reliable for governments and large organizations. We make inter-organization communications simpler, and with flexible deployment models, this increases efficiency even more. You can just imagine the rest of BlackBerry solutions being brought into this, and that is what is given consideration, especially to the larger companies when they want to deploy BlackBerry ad hoc. They look at other solutions that can also help, and they get way more value for their money. So we also have interoperability with third-party platforms. For example, we recently announced integration with ServiceNow for IT incident management. So that's been a great improvement in terms of operability. And so is our integration with Teams. We recently announced deep integration into Microsoft Teams for providing a secure collaboration environment within Microsoft Teams. This is in addition to our existing secure collaboration environment with BBM Enterprise, which you might already be familiar with. So this is how we do it. This is our ad hoc solution. It has situation response, which provides a centralized approach to critical event management to properly plan, manage, and remediate crises and improve business continuity. Allows effective plan management as well. And then on the back of that, you've got alert, which gives you an instant alert on any change in any situation, such as a cyber attack. Collect allows you to get a snapshot of a situation that needs attention. For example, you might have a user, an individual, that has a personal duress signal on a smartphone that needs to be collected and understood. Account allows you to get full visibility of the impact and real-time status of a critical event, ensuring maximum safety of your employees and your business. And then Connect allows you to synchronize your efforts with other agencies, such as emergency services, whether it's your ambulance, fire departments, or even law enforcement, and as well as third-party or external organizations through directory integration. So it's very well done, that is. Now, how would that look in the real world? It's amazing how you can take those simple elements and scale out to what you see in front of you. I'm not going to go through this in any great detail. This is a typical ad hoc large-scale deployment. You can see how it's connecting VoIP networks, it's connecting public cloud where necessary. It's an on-prem solution, or it can be in the cloud as well. You can have notifications on any endpoint. It's a pure IoT solution. You can have radio interfaces, you can have PBXs, all kinds of stuff. And the reason why I want to show this is, we'd really like to discuss with you what your requirements may look like. You might have legacy systems that you want to integrate into your notification services. We're happy to talk to you about that. Come and talk to us. We're looking forward to discussing critical event communications with you. So that's critical comms. And just to finish off for the next couple of minutes, I'd like to talk about working remotely. This is a huge topic in the pandemic. And, it's changed for the future. We want to show you how you could stay vigilant, secure, and productive going forwards. Now, firstly, some facts about remote working. Employees have been forced to work from home. Now, that means there's been lots of hours and days of wasted productivity for many while setting up remote working, because that company has had a lack of preparedness, right? And that means that they've had to enforce BYOD, and in most cases, and there's studies out there that show that about 67% have been forced on to having BYOD during the pandemic. That's a huge increase. And this isn't going to change going forward. It's not like it's going to go back to zero. BYOD is here to stay. Remote working is here to stay. Now, employee safety and security and integrity of data is key for the business. Now, expanded work from home has led to 300% in cyber threats. That's because employees are being allowed to use their home systems, and typically they won't have the kind of secure capabilities that they would have at work, especially the network or secure software on their machines at home, preventing threats from happening, like our very own AV capability. Ransomware attacks have jumped to 62%, impacting 69% of organizations. That's a huge jump. And ransomware is one threat that you need to prevent, as opposed to letting it happen and then trying to fix it using an EDR solution. You need to prevent it. That's why Blackberry has a prevent first offering, and why we have a prevent first approach to everything we do. Now, productivity. Let's talk about the employees. They need access to apps, and it needs to be secure and productive, allow them to be productive. Now, organizations have underfunded what we call human vigilance. They haven't spent enough time training their employees in making them aware of cybersecurity situations and threats, and educating them on what that means and how to respond to them, and how to make sure that they don't click that phishing link. They don't click links that look genuine, look like they're from their bank, but don't click them. Right? A lot of the time they're figuring it out themselves, or they're finding the hard way. We call it a key inhibitor to cyber defense. What that means is that remote working is done wrong. In most cases, it really is. We call them band-aid responses to work from anywhere. More corporate laptops will be issued, but not all the time, because employee machines will have to be used. More VDI licenses are being used. More VDI infrastructure is being deployed. More cost for VPN. We're finding that VPN infrastructure is, expenses going up. And how do we know remote connectivity is secure? Chances are thousands of networks to manage could be too much for a particular business. So how do you do it right? Well, we have our digital workplace solution. It's a low-cost work from anywhere solution, optimized for security and productivity. First in-market browser using Blackberry Access. It's true BYOD using our cryptographically secure Blackberry Dynamics capability. You don't need to tether to your corporate to be managed. You don't need to have your device managed. You can use it all separately. And for VDI access, consider our partner, Wingu. They have an optimized, lightweight, low-cost alternative to the heavyweight VDI solutions out there. This is Blackberry's digital workplace. We partner with Wingu to provide you that lightweight VDI access. No additional VDI infrastructure is required. It's all browser-based. It runs Windows, Linux, SaaS, and Internet apps securely within our Blackberry Access browser to give you that security and peace of mind while being completely lightweight. Don't need to spend that much money on it either. And then finally, remote working and BYOD done right. Let's go back to that slide I showed you before. It's been corrected. No need to worry about BYOD. Don't need to worry about employees using their own machines. No more cost on additional cost on VDI. Just use the lightweight solution from Wingu, partnered with our Blackberry Access solution. And don't worry about VPNs. You don't need them. They're not even that secure anyway. Some have been hacked. There's a lot of information out there in the net to help you understand what that actually means. We have a VPN solution. You don't need to invest in both infrastructure and licenses with Blackberry for remote connectivity. And with Blackberry, you can now manage network telemetry so that you optimize your adaptive risk profiles of your users so that the network side is secure as well. So that's BYOD done right. That's remote working done right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time you've given me, and really appreciate you taking the time to listen. and I look forward to talking to as many of you as possible about our solutions and help you be vigilant in tomorrow's market. Thank you very much.